So this is, for those of you who are lost or just sat down because their legs hurt, this is a Sony Oxford plugin demo. Fair? Okay. I'm going to show you the entire suite of Oxford plugin. My name is Fab. I'm a producer, music producer, and mixer, and I use the Oxford plugins for everything I do. My rig is, this is a little reenaction of what I have at home. I have a Pro Tools HD3 system, all the Oxford plugins, and also use my trusty analog, Dangerous Music analog backend, analog summing, and monitor section, and monitor control, and metering. This is how I work at home. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of my songs that I just mixed and produced, and I'm going to show you some tricks on how I use the plugins to do the mixing. First thing I'm going to do is going to play you the song so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. This song is from a band called Home and Garden. They're a house and music band from Chicago. Here we go.
It's not that I want to make it difficult for you. We could be so happy with nothing left to lose. I know it may seem complicated. Future, past are still related. Every kiss just brings us closer. So I think it over and over. When you're next to me, it's gonna be easy going,
Etc., 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 etc. So this track is called Easy Going Down, Home and Garden, Chicago band, rockin'. What I'm gonna do, everything's live as you could see. All these tracks are actually, whoa. Now I can hear myself fine. Thank you very much, Eric. All these tracks are playing live right now. It's not canned, you know, it's all live. Let me show you the plugins one by one. The first plugin I'd like to show you is the EQ. In order of appearance, the EQ was the first plugin that Oxford created for Pro Tools. What happened is they made that digital console called the Oxford console. You guys heard about that? And then Sony discontinued the console, and the engineers took that technology from that console and transferred it into plugins for Pro Tools. And the thing that happened is that these plugins completely changed the way people mix with Pro Tools because they sound great. They just sound great, which was the first time you could really do everything in the box and it sounded good. So what's so special about this plugin? Well, it's many plugins in one, meaning that it has 5 different kinds of sound. This one plugin has 5 different kinds of sound. They call them types. Type 1 is a typical digital EQ. It's reciprocal curves, meaning that the gain and the cut curves are the same. Okay? Also, the gain and the Q are not linked. So it's a very clean, very transparent, very gentle digital EQ. Type 2 is very different. Type 2 is more like an SSL vibe. See, the gain is this way, but the cut is much narrower. I don't know about you guys, but I personally think that the least amount of EQing is the best amount of EQing. So if I'm going to EQ anything, I'm going to really make sure that it's the strict, absolute minimum that I can EQ. What I mostly do is cut the stuff I don't like. If I can avoid boosting, I will avoid boosting at all costs. So on anything, say for example on this vocal, if I go here and I solo the vocal,
it's not that
that's the track.
I want to
So there's
make it
a little nose problem.
for you.
So let's find the nose.
We could be so happy
Her.
with nothing left to lose. I know it may seem complicated.
That's it. Already sounds better.
Future and past are still related.
I kinda dig that.
Every kiss just brings
There's a little thing some lower that I can't hear anything right now, but it seems to me I feel something ugly here.
It's not that I want to
That.
make it
I don't like that.
difficult for you.
Much nicer.
We could be
So we started here.
so happy with nothing left to
Much better.
lose. I
Also,
know it may
I'm lacking a little bit of that thing. So let's get to that. Let me show you type 3. Type 3 is more of a Neve type. It's a lot gentler. Check it out. See that the curves are a lot smoother. Also, the Q and the gain are linked. So the higher amount of gain, the narrower is the Q. Makes for a very gentle EQ. Another type they have is type 4, which is more of a mastering type. As you can see, it's super smooth and gentle. And then they have an optional GML EQ. So you know about George Massenburg? Is everybody here is a truck driver? What's going on? Okay, George Massenburg is the guy who invented the system, the parametric EQ. That's his concept. He invented the thing, okay? Nice guy. And he also built an EQ called the 8200, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the mother of all analog EQs. It just sounds amazing. George Massenburg 8200. George went to Oxford and sat down with the Oxford guys and said, yeah, let's make an emulation of my hardware. And he says that this sounds great. And for George to say that something sounds great, it's a lot of work. So this is a great thing to have. What's great about this EQ is that you can have the 26K band. 26K. Check it out what it does on a vocal.
It's not that I want to
Hear it?
make it difficult for you. We could be so happy.
Is that just that thing, that air thing, that I defy you to do this gently and this smoothly with anything else but this EQ. It's basically impossible. You have to have this one if you want to be able to do that. And that pretty much changed the way I work. Once I got this, everything changed. My mixes were wide, full. It was just a lot. It's wonderful.
It's not that
I love it.
I want.
So we started here,
It's not that I want to.
and now we're here.
It's not that
Much better.
I want to.
Very smooth, very gentle. And the last feature I'd like to show you is the AB switch. Basically, you can have two completely sets of parameters stored within the EQ. So this is what we did today.
It's not that I want to.
This is what I did in my studio.
It's not that I want to.
A little bit more throat.
Make it different.
Probably because one should never, ever, ever, ever EQ in solo. You should always EQ in the track.
It's not that.
Now it makes sense. What I did today
Make it difficult.
is a little bit of a mask in the nose.
Could be.
But what I did the other day is a lot more in the track.
I want to make it.
Don't EQ in solo. Let me give you a trick. When I start a mix, first thing I do is I do the vocal, always. Second thing I do is the bass, always. And then I solo save the bass and I solo save the vocal. Let me show you what that means. What that means is that right now, say if I want to work on my bass drum and I solo my bass drum,
It's not that.
I'm still going to hear my bass and my vocal at all time. Which means that I'm never going to mix in a way where I cannot get my vocal loud enough, and I'm never going to mix in a way where my bass has no room. No matter what I do it against bass and vocal at all times. At the beginning, it's a little bit like mixing with somebody hitting you on the head. But once you get used to it, it's basically guarantees that you have a rockin' mix at all time. That's the way to do it. Okay, so we've seen the EQ. Everybody's down with the EQ? Cool. So now let's talk about the compressor.